So MIT and Harvard have each contributed $30 million to a new online learning initiative. Sorry, can you hear me all right? Good.
Yes.
Okay. And they announced it this morning. It's an extension of a former MIT program, but they signed over the big guys across the river at Harvard, and the two of them are launching their first courses this fall.
And what are they aiming to do with this? Who are they aiming to reach?
Everybody around the world. I mean, it's a part of this huge trend of elite universities figuring out that they can really impact a lot of people's lives by offering high-level courses online and by using online tools to not just give lectures, but actually try to help people learn by checking their evaluation and creating communities around learning and giving quizzes, all sorts of things like that. It's one of just a few of these initiatives, and all of them really seem to have come about just in the last couple of years after some pretty influential, well, there was one moment, which was some pretty influential Stanford courses that were offered last year to hundreds of thousands of students. And what's interesting, though, about this project is that the professors who taught those Stanford courses have now kind of spun off their own for-profit online education ventures. But MIT and Harvard are doing this as a nonprofit, and it's completely sponsored by the school still. It's not separate from the school like the Stanford projects have become.
Now, it wasn't that long ago that online universities and online courses were seen as sort of second rate and maybe perhaps not worth bothering with. That's clearly changed with Harvard, Stanford, and MIT all getting in on the game. In this case, it's just Harvard and Stanford. What made the change?
I think that what's made the change is that there's an opportunity to teach people online that people are really just, it's contagious, it's infectious. These professors actually do want people to learn what they're talking about. I don't think that there's any question that this would be the equivalent of going to one of these schools. That's always very carefully stated that an online education is different from a residential education. But obviously, as this, as it becomes more than just one course, as there becomes certification programs, things like that, you'll start progressing to the point where an online education possibly could compete with the people who are offering it.
Now, one of the great things about this is it can be distributed much more cheaply because you don't need, classroom size. Classroom size is not an issue with an online course. Does that mean we eventually see the price of higher education drop? I know that's a big problem for a lot of people.
I think that's absolutely a goal of these initiatives. Right now, the Harvard and MIT courses are going to be free. They said at most that they are considering some kind of a small fee if you end up doing some kind of a certification program through them. And that's pretty similar with all the other projects that we've seen. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is a massive democratization of education. It's not a democratization of an entire four-year college major education, all the things that you would get by going to a school yet. But it is some really impressive high-level courses from some of the smartest people in the world.